what it reveals is that you can tap into that degradation of dispersal of energy and matter if you have the right sort of equipment and use it constructively. So there would be, for example, the great disperser in the sky. This might be the only sunset you see this evening. The energy dispersing after the results of nuclear fusion and so on, being collected on Earth in the form of photosynthesis and building structures, the biosphere, from whatever happens to be lying around, in particular carbon dioxide, of course. But of course, that bit of the biosphere could also be breakfast, kind of Japanese breakfast. And the metabolic processes in our body causes the construction from amino acids of proteins, and on a larger scale, the construction of organs, and so in particular, that most precious of organs. So what the second law does, it really accounts for the whole train of being, really, from the dispersal that takes place above us to the processes that go on within us. And I think that is why the second law is such a fantastic law to understand. It doesn't give you any detail at this level of discourse, but it really shows you the spring of change in the universe. And of course, the constructive processes can also be driven inside here. And this is my one kitsch illustration, and order the chaotic electrical and chemical currents in our brain into acts of creativity and aesthetic sensibility. So the second law is so fantastic because it's so simple, yet illuminates just about everything. And I don't really see how a law of such simplicity and nobility could ever be replaced. I like to think of one consequence of the second law is also a universal application, that evolution proceeds by natural selection. I like to think of natural selection and evolution as simply being a manner of degrading energy, a rather subtle manner of degrading energy that nature has stumbled into, and that we are here as the beneficiaries of its rich consequences. So the third of my paradigmatic prejudices is that mathematics is the supreme language for the description and elucidation of the world. This is not the place to reflect upon why that might be or its implications, but it's surely right to be prejudiced in favor of its universal validity. Skip some more. A lot of more nonsense, really. So, back to my double-edged sword. Not much like a sword, really. It's really a double-ended waxen candle. But and my pride in prejudice of really the right kind. I think there are three major good prejudices that I'd like to share with you in conclusion. My good prejudice one, good major prejudice one, is that there is no validity in any question that begins with why. There's a lot of why questions around, of course, such as why the universe was created, why is there evil in the world, and why are plants green. But in every case, I consider that the sieve that sorts the wheat from the chaff, the real from the imagined, is whether the question can be deconstructed into a string of how questions. How is it that the world exists? How is it that the plant is green? And if a question cannot be so deconstructed, then I regard it as, my prejudice is to regard it as not being real, and hence not worthy of further consideration. My second great major prejudice is that simplicity is is that well, I suppose I should say that I regard scientists as hewers of simplicity from complexity. And the aim of science, in my view, is to identify the acorns of concepts from which the forests of observable phenomena spring. And my prejudice is in favor of reductionism, provided we understand that reductionism is really assemblism, the view that observable phenomena arise from reticulations of more fundamental entities. And my third major prejudice, and this touches on something I did say a moment ago, and if I'd had time you would have had several more pages of padding, but this is it, is that I didn't have time to find a shorter way of saying this, but mathematics works as a language for describing physical reality is a sign that it's closely allied to ultimate truth. I've always found it absolutely fascinating that this supreme and supremely abstract achievement of the human brain turns out to be what appears to be the perfect language for the elucidation of the fabric of reality. I've mused, in fact, on the possibility that there is a deep structural analogy between mathematics and reality that accounts for the fact that mathematics works. And in a sense, I admit to being prejudiced in favor of Platonism, in this case, ultimate Platonism, that the world is and is not more than mathematics. So, in conclusion, let me return to my title. The candle that I would wish to hand to government is prejudice. But it's prejudice of a very special kind. The prejudice that the scientific method, the method of approaching sort of problems in the light of publicly shared evidence, uncontaminated by superstition, is the only way forward. In that kind of prejudice, we can sort of truly have pride. Thank you very much.